Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Pennsylvania students by PACAC. I'm David Weiss-Spohr, the Director of College Counseling at Winchester Thurston School in Pittsburgh, and this is the Indiana University session. During the session, if you need to ask questions, use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so you're muted, and the panelists cannot see or hear you. Please go to pacac.org/virtual to sign up for more sessions. And the session is being recorded, and all session recordings will be available on our website after the sessions are complete. So with that, I will turn it over to Jill and Marnie from Indiana University of Bloomington.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Marnie Blair. I'm one of the directors, and I oversee most of Pennsylvania, and I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm joined with my colleague Jill. Jill, you want to introduce yourself while I get the presentation up?
Of course. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jill Shimmick. I work with students in Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. So if you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Delaware, Chester, or Montgomery County, then I am your counselor.
So Jill and I are going to split up this presentation, and we're thrilled to bring you information about IU Bloomington. As you may have noticed earlier, you can check out the Q&A functionality. We'll be answering some questions behind the scenes as well as at the end. So feel free to let us know as the process continues. Jill, take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Marnie. We are so pleased to welcome you here today, and we would love to have the opportunity to host you on campus. But as you know, the current situation involving COVID-19 prevents us from doing so safely right now. So we are continuing to monitor everything. And if you want up to the minute or up to the date updates on what's going on our campus, you can visit coronavirus.iu.edu to see what's going on our campus in regards to student, faculty, and staff safety. While we aren't currently able to host you on our campus today, our goal is to bring the IU campus to you virtually and to provide an overview of the amazing place that is IU. And we're going to highlight today the experience that you could have as a student and talk about your next steps to becoming an IU Bloomington student. Before we begin, all of us at IU, in the IU Office of Admissions, share our wish for the health and safety of your family as we go to school, work, and try to adapt to an environment that has seen and continues to see turmoil and unrest. At IU, the benefit we all receive from the diversity of our community is a central component of our academic mission, and acts of hatred and intolerance will be powerfully condemned. As a community, we continue to work to ensure that our campus is a place where differences of all kinds, whether of race, ethnicity, or belief, are respected, valued, and protected. Within the Office of Admissions, honoring and celebrating the dignity of each student through the process of admissions and programs we design is at the very core of our work. We appreciate this opportunity to tell you more about Indiana University and the experience that awaits you. When you're a student at IU Bloomington, not only will you live on an amazing campus, but in a diverse and welcoming community that sets us apart from other schools. As a student at IU, you'll become a member of a student body that embraces diversity, consisting of more than 33,000 undergraduate students hailing from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico, as well as 140 different countries. All of our students come to us with varying cultural, political, socioeconomic, ethnic, and religious backgrounds. We're a university rich in history and tradition. Established in 1820, IU has built a strong tradition of excellence and innovation, both in and out of the classroom. From our nationally recognized academic programs to Division I varsity athletics, all in one of the most beautiful campuses in the country, IU will offer you rich experiences inside the classroom and out. Academically, you will study at a prestigious university with the flexibility that encourages your creativity and exploration. We offer 12 schools and colleges at IU with world-renowned academic programs like the Hamilton Lugar School of Global and International Studies, which prepares our students to be global leaders who can grapple with tomorrow's international issues. and the Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering, which offers the newly developed Bachelor of Science in Intelligent Systems Engineering. This major focuses on small scale and mobile technologies that connect anything and everything to the internet and keep them how do we keep them functioning efficiently? There's also the largest school on our campus, our College of Arts and Sciences, which is home to more than 80 undergraduate majors in disciplines such as literature, biology, religious studies, mathematics, political science, theater arts. Students in the college, as we call it, receive a liberal arts education with specific coursework led by our world-class faculty. Our 12 schools offer more than 200 majors to choose from, meaning there's something for everyone at IU. You'll have the opportunity to specialize in all of your interests by combining majors into double or even triple majors. You can also add up to 3 minors inside or outside your area of study. You can even create your own major at IU through our individualized major program. Some examples of majors our students have created include underwater archaeology, theatrical linguistics, and enigmatology, which is the study of puzzles. Will Shorts, who's the editor of the New York Times crossword puzzle, was an early individualized major program graduate, and he created his major, enigmatology, with the guidance of our IU staff and faculty. IU offers you the flexibility to explore over 4,000 classes a year and gives you up to 2 years to officially declare 1 or more majors. About 60% of incoming IU students will begin their academic journey in university division, and students who enter IU through this entry point will have the freedom to explore multiple interests, receive expert guidance on combining majors and minors, and design a course of study that's perfect for them. After choosing their academic path, university division students will then apply to the school or major of their interest and complete that school's prerequisites. While the majority of our incoming freshmen enter IU through university division, we do offer a number of direct admission programs. Direct admission is offered to students who meet certain academic criteria and have listed a major on their application from a school that offers direct admission. Those who qualify for direct admission will receive notification of admission from that particular school after receiving an offer of admission to Indiana University. IU wants you to personalize your education, and we do our best to give you the tools to do so while you're a student with us. At IU, our students not only are receiving a world-class education with amazing academic opportunities and support services, but they also will have thousands of opportunities to find a place outside of our classrooms. We offer more than 750 student clubs and organizations to explore, from political and student government to social, religious, and performing arts. In addition, IU has more than 70 Greek life organizations, and about 20% of our student body are affiliated with a Greek organization at IU. Our rec sports programs offer over 55 intramural and club sports, meaning that students won't have a shortage of activities to keep them involved outside of the classroom. Additionally, our students will become a part of a world-class arts and culture community with more than 1,100 artistic and cultural performances each year, from student music performances through the world-renowned Jacobs School of Music, with operas, ballets, voice and instrumental recitals happening almost daily at IU. The amazing IU auditorium offers professional productions, popular music groups, and cultural performances and guest lectures with recent favorites like Rent, Chicago, Trevor Noah, Elf the Musical, Finding Neverland, and Chance the Rapper. I mentioned that IU is rich in both history and tradition, and our Hoosier students are very passionate and engaged in both the campus and community. Our students have a long history of giving back through great events like the IU Dance Marathon, where each November, hundreds of IU students dance for 36 hours straight to raise money for the Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis. Since its inception in 1991, the organization has generated more than $40 million for the hospital. And during Welcome Week, which is the first week of classes before each fall semester starts, our campus and community come together for Culture Fest, a unique celebration of the cultural diversity that make us one of the most international universities in the country. At Culture Fest, student organizations, campus cultural centers, and local restaurants unite to help new and returning students experience the unique and diverse cultures that make up IU. One of the great things about Bloomington is the food that we have. We actually have more ethnic restaurants per capita than any other city in the US. So I think that Culture Fest not only highlights the rich community of IU, but also of our host city of Bloomington. Our students also have amazing school spirit and support their fellow Hoosiers in a wide variety of events and activities, including our Division I Big Ten varsity sports. As a Hoosier, you'll have the opportunity to cheer on our 24 men's and women's varsity teams who make IU fans proud to wear cream and crimson. Finally, as a student at IU, you'll be prepared to succeed through connections to the world beyond Indiana University. Your IU education will prepare you for careers not yet imagined and give you the unique opportunity to layer and combine programs as mentioned earlier. You'll be prepared for tomorrow's careers. We value the importance of applying your IU education in the real world and give you these opportunities through experiential learning. At IU, we're already thinking about your future with programs like the Center of Excellence for Women in Technology, which helps female students at IU gain access to scholarships and internships, and the O'Neill School's Washington Leadership Program, which allows students to live, work, and learn in Washington, D.C. while receiving IU credit. Both of these opportunities take the IU education to the next level and prepare our students to enter the job market. There are also undergraduate research opportunities, even for our freshmen, through programs like the Integrated Freshman Learning Experience. And there are more than 200 research centers and institutes at IU that offer opportunities not only in the sciences, but in many fields like education, business, and the arts. We encourage our students to seek out internships as early as their first year. These internships will allow you to connect with potential employers, help you gain experience, and try out future career paths. I'm going to turn it over to Marnie now, who's going to share more about how to apply to IU.
Thanks, Jill. Now, as you are navigating your next steps, we want to do what we can to bring you here. So we do have three platforms to choose from. Our Apply IU application is our homegrown application. So it's one app, one fee for all of our IU campuses. However, you may choose an external platform like Common App or Coalition App, and it's really your choice. We say the best application is the one that you choose. I will say that the Apply IU application also has our specific essay that we need built into it, whereas with the Common and Coalition platforms, that is an IU supplemental essay. And as you see here, you just need to choose one. So what we're needing to complete your application is your fee or fee waiver, that IU specific essay if you choose Common App or Coalition App. Go ahead, Jill.
Sorry, you were frozen for me, so I was going to take over, but you're back now.
Okay, all right. So I'm not sure if you heard this, but to complete your application, you'll need your application fee and fee waiver, your IU specific essay if you choose Common App or Coalition App. And again, it's built into the Apply IU application. Please make sure you're working with your counselors to meet their deadlines, to meet our deadlines. And that's true for the high school transcript. Your counselors are moving mountains behind the scenes, same thing with your teachers. And we do request that you complete and submit your official high school transcript. Now we are going test optional. You can send in your scores, and if you do, you can send in SAT or ACT. We don't have a preference, and we do super score. One thing that we really want to stress is our deadlines, and that is November 1st. That is a deadline of scholarship and maximum consideration. While we have students that may apply after this time, we strongly encourage, and we have what, little less than a month. You have plenty of time to complete your application by this time. Now, we are early action non-binding, which means that you can apply to other schools. You can be admitted to other schools. But again, it's to maximize consideration and meet the deadline for scholarships. So a note about some of the changes. Even before the pandemic occurred, Indiana University Bloomington was planning on going test optional, as well as being self-reported. So for students that would like to send in these test scores, you have an opportunity to submit and indicate your highest scores on your application. As long as you eventually send those in, if you've decided in the spring you're coming to IU, as long as they meet those scores or are higher, you're good to go. If you are taking the exam and you want to take advantage of the free reporting, you're welcome to do so. But we also understand that due to the pandemic, a lot of you haven't been able to take the exam at all, let alone more than once. And because of that, we are giving an option to change your mind, essentially. So down below, you have an opportunity to see that we know that test scores is not the end all be all. We understand that a student's success might be more than just one component. So we will review your consideration based upon a combination of factors. While research shows that the combination of factors is the best predictor of college success, including the test score, again, we understand that that's not everyone. Now, you do have an opportunity to change your mind. And this is what this slide discusses. So if you decide to go test optional at the time that you apply, if you complete your application by November 1st, with your application fee or fee waiver, your official high school transcript, and that IU essay, your IU supplemental essay, you can send in your scores and change your mind as long as those scores are in by January 15th. And our test optional site, right down here below, go.iu.edu/test optional will give you lots of good information. So what we're looking at for your overall application performance, we're looking at everything you send to us academically. From the classes that you take, we're looking at what you've done over time. We're looking at your senior schedule. We're looking at grade trends. We are looking at the grades themselves. We're looking at, did you challenge yourself? Are you taking accelerated classes, honors classes, AP, IB, dual credit? Now, your school may only have a few of these, but what environment did you decide? We're looking at that as well. And when we say academic coursework, we're saying English, math, social science, lab science, and or foreign language. Are you taking 3 to 5 major academic classes in your senior year? We're looking at that as well. We'll be checking out and looking and evaluating your weighted or unweighted GPA. We'll be evaluating your test score if you send it, and if you decide to go test optional, we won't. And then the IU application essay. It is 200 to 400 words, focusing on what you want to do in college. So your major interests, maybe some of the activities, organizations that you want to be involved in, and or what you want to do after college. So your career goals or ideas after you graduate, and or if you've overcome an obstacle or challenge that affected your grades. Now, notice I said and or. 200 to 400 words sounds like a lot, but really it's about 2 to 3 paragraphs. And a few notes. Number one, this is the time to really be specific, This is the time to really talk about something that you're passionate about. Don't decide to think about what we want. Think about what you want us to know. Be very specific so that if we are looking at your essay, no one else could have written it except for you. And certainly edit your work. We won't know if you have used it for another school, for example, but please make sure if you are going to say the school name, for example, make sure it's the right one. Also, just a note on this essay. I know that with Common App, there is a COVID prompt for admission and for scholarships. We will look at our IU supplemental essay. If you happen to want to allude to your Common App, we can certainly look at it. But if you talk about COVID-19 and the impact, just remember that every person on this planet has been affected. Again, I'm not saying one way or another to include that, just make sure it's specific to you. And this is the middle 50%, GPA and test score. When I show this to students, their eyes get really big or they're like, okay. And keep in mind, 50%, right? That's 25% above and below these ranges. Now, again, we are looking at your overall academic performance. We're looking at how you've done over time. If you include your test score, that's another touch point in terms of information we can take a look at. So again, if you're close or if you're below any of these ranges, that's not to say that we're not going to admit you. Again, it is a holistic review. And the essay has helped fill in the blanks. That's the other recommendation I would give. Make sure that you are talking about something that you don't already talk about on your application. So a little bit about our timeline. If you complete your application by November 1st, our early action non-binding date, you will hear a decision no later than January 15th. And notice I said a decision, and notice I said no later than. So we admit students and we also have to decline students, but there are a lot of students that are just below where we are admitting. That doesn't mean that we're not going to admit you. And a lot of times we may ask for information to maximize your consideration. We're giving you the opportunity to make your application more competitive for admission. Okay. So sometimes we may ask for additional grades. Sometimes we may ask for a class that we require. Sometimes it might be that we need more information about your second semester transcript, your senior year, if we don't have it. So we will make an initial decision. Yes, we admit and not admit, but sometimes we may ask for additional information. So I encourage you to make sure that the email address that you include on your transcript is something that you're checking pretty often, and use that email address as you're consistently communicating with us, because we will send you information like right after you apply, you'll get an email that thanks you for your application to IU Bloomington. About 7 to 10 days after you apply, you'll get an email with the subject line, check your admission status. That's a really important email because it includes your university ID number and steps to be able to create your IU computing account. And you're gonna say, Marnie, why do I need this computer account? I'm not even admitted. And I will tell you that it's the opportunity to check your status online. It's the fastest way to know that we've made a decision. And we will start releasing decisions. Our hope is in the next couple of weeks. And the weight that's lifted off your shoulders to know that you've been admitted feels really darn good. So a lot of times students may know really immediately after the decision is made online, and then a couple days after via email, and then a couple weeks after with our enrollment packet. So it behooves you to complete that IU computing account. Certainly you can reach out to Jill and I or our office We certainly will make connections and assist you, but that IU computing account also gives you opportunities to apply for housing. Housing is required freshman year. This year, it was such that we provided exemptions to students. However, a good number of incoming freshmen did decide to come. Most of our students are living in double occupancy, but just one student. And then there were some students that still wanted to have that interaction and had a mutual agreement to have a roommate. We don't know what's in store for next year, but we are hopeful that our residential community will continue. And incoming freshmen will apply for housing as long as they're admitted to IU, usually early February. And it's not saying, yes, I'm coming. It's just saying, if I come, I want to live in the right environment. And I encourage you to check out more information on our site, rps.indiana.edu. So going back to the timeline, we do have a regular decision date of February 1. You'll hear for a decision or a decision before March 15th. And then after that, we'll look on a case-by-case basis. So we are thrilled to connect with you. We want to do what we can to help you through this process. I want to take a moment and just acknowledge that we can't imagine as a junior or senior or even a student, freshman or sophomore, what you're going through. And parents, if you're out there, we want to honor all of you. We want to support you. Both Jill and I split up Pennsylvania. We are your personal admissions counselor, and we want to do what we can. Even if you say to us, you know what, IU is not for us, but I'd love to talk to someone about college readiness. I'd love to talk about next steps. I'd love to talk about what your take is on whatever you're interested in. We want to be here for you. So as you can see, our contact information is available. I know for me, email is really the best way that you can contact me. And then we can find times if indeed you have any questions. We can talk over the phone. We can do a Zoom. I know everyone's Zoomed out, but we can also go through some websites and some information, especially about direct admission. I know that there might be some questions out there. If your parents want to come, that's great. If you want to have a one-on-one, we can even connect you with current students one-on-one. So again, please reach out. We want to do what we can. Jill, anything else to add?
I do not. It looks like we have a couple of questions in our Q&A though. Do we want to get started there?
Yeah.
All right. So the first question, and if you have more questions, students, families, counselors, please ask. That's what we're here for. So when you apply to IU and you're accepted, does a person need to wait 2 years to get accepted into the specific school? I think that's a great question because the way IU works is a little bit different than some of our Big Ten peers in terms of what do you get admitted to and when. So we alluded to university division a couple of times. So when most students come to IU through university division, from university division, there are pathways to all of the majors on our campus we call it UDiv for short. And so from UDiv, you can get into just about, music is the only one where it's a little bit tricky to get into from UDiv. But otherwise, there are pathways to all of our majors from UDiv. Typically, students will start being admitted or being certified into specific schools and colleges at IU at the end of their freshman year. By the end of your sophomore year, you will need to have that decision made and be admitted into a specific school or college. So you don't have to wait 2 years. If you know what pathway you want to do, usually by the end of your freshman year, you can make that happen.
And let me also say, because it is a little bit different where you're applying to other schools where you apply directly to business or you apply to liberal arts or education and there's different criteria. That's not how it is here. So when you are admitted to Indiana University, you're admitted to IU Bloomington. Students start in University Division, and as Jill mentioned, think of it as an academic and advising home, and majority of our students begin there. Now, based upon that intended major, you may, operative word, may be directly admitted to your school or college. And again, it's based upon an academic profile. So how it works is that all of our schools that offer direct admission, and we offer direct admission to 10 of the 12 schools. The only two we do not is the School of Social Work and the School of Nursing. Every other school, it's based upon an academic profile. Now, I will say that many of our schools will have a petition process if you go test optional. So you are, I would recommend checking out the specific sites to talk about the process. And then, of course, like Jill mentioned, the Jacob School of Music, it's based upon an audition or interview. So it's a little bit different. I will say about 20 to 40% of our students are directly admitted to their school or college. This does not mean a 5-year plan. You're taking the exact same courses, and most students are going to apply to their specific school at the end of freshman year or sometimes sophomore year. And it's very common for students to take courses in different schools to make the most sense for you. So we have another question. I can take it. Ethan asks, referring back to the middle 50% GPA being 3.6 on to 4, was that regarding weighted or unweighted? Great question. What we look at is whatever is higher. So if your school has a weighted GPA, that's what we're looking at. So we want to maximize your consideration by all of the things that you have, and we'll look at whatever your school sends us. So again, if you have additional questions, we have a little bit more than about 15 minutes. We want to do what we can to answer your questions specifically or generally. If you want to know more information about the application process, test optional, I know a lot of you might have some questions trying to navigate. I will say, again, we will not use one component as part of our decision. It's a combination of factors. There's another question coming in. Jill, do you want to answer what's Bloomington like?
Of course. Marnie and I both love Bloomington, and we could both probably talk for the rest of the time about our favorite restaurants in Bloomington. IU is in the heart of Bloomington, Indiana. So the background behind Marnie those are the sample gates, one of many entrances to campus, the most iconic entrance to campus though. And from where Marnie is sitting right now, she's actually if she walks forward instead of backwards, which we tell our tour guides not to walk backwards. So you won't see that happen at IU ever. But if Marnie were to go forward right now, she would walk into downtown Bloomington and be in the midst of amazing restaurants, some really cool shops, art galleries. My favorite ice cream shop is a block from where Marnie is like virtually sitting right now, Hartzell's Ice Cream. They're Dusty Bean, Marnie. I don't know if you've had that. I found out it's like the equivalent of 2.5 cups of coffee and a scoop of ice cream. It's amazing. And so I think everywhere you go in Bloomington, there's going to be great food. You're going to be welcomed. Hoosier hospitality is a huge part of life on our campus and in our community. And it's this way of being welcome, even though students are only with us for 4 years typically, but they are welcome in our community. They make Bloomington the place it is. And you see that everywhere you go in Bloomington. It's also a super bike-friendly community. It's super walkable. If you love the outdoors, we're like a 20-minute drive from a couple of lakes, some great state parks. As you can see behind Marnie right now, the fall colors in Bloomington are fantastic. So it's just a really fun and unique place to live. When you think of college towns, like I feel like the the term college town came from Bloomington, because it is the perfect college town in that sense.
And while we wish that we could welcome you, we do have several other virtual opportunities. This is kind of a taste in terms of some of the things that you can learn. Our virtual tour down below, the go.iu.edu/virtual tour. We have several webinars. We also have our academic partners. So many of our academic schools also provide information session webinars. So if you want to learn more about any of our schools, you can reach out. And all of the schools have recruitment officers. So if you have specific questions, please feel free to reach out. And we want to do what we can because we want you on campus. We still want you on campus, so that you can check out the beautiful fall and the beautiful campus and the beautiful, fantastic quintessential college town. It really is great. And, you know, our students are adapting to that. We're on a hybrid consideration right now. So some students are taking courses online. Some students are in person. It's amazing to see what the university has done in terms of the safety consideration, because that's paramount. That's the key. And we want to continue to do that if and when, it's really when we welcome you to campus. So again, if you have any other questions, please feel free. I don't know, Jill, if you have any questions for me.
So Marnie, we both have IU degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I have a master's degree
Mm-hmm.
from IU, so I didn't do my undergrad work there, but you did.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite part about being a student at IU?
Other than everything. So, oh yeah, that is a really hard question because there's so much to talk about, but I decided to live in one of the living learning centers. So this is one of the learning communities, one of 20 learning communities that the campus supports. So what it's like is, and let me back up. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and I knew nothing about IU when I came. My uncle got his MBA in the 70s, and he said, you know, I think you'd really like IU. And I didn't know what to expect. And when I came to campus, and how beautiful it was, and you know, for those that are familiar with Pittsburgh, there's beautiful colleges, and you know, it's just such a there was this thing in my head where I was like, I just wanted to be welcoming, inviting, and this is really what I thought college would be like. And everyone was so nice. I don't know if you've heard about Hoosier hospitality, but I really did connect with so many people. I also grew up Jewish, and I went to the IU Hillel, and I learned about what it would be like as a student, because again, I didn't know what to expect, and the connection. And I think that's what happened in my living experience. Collins Living Learning Center is the living learning center sponsored by the College of Arts and Sciences. Many of our schools sponsor a specific living learning center, or LLC, for students who have a similar interest. So it's like a school within a school. And for me, going so far away, it felt like that, at least, jumping over a state into Indiana, past Ohio. I think that connection was really important. And when I learned about how Collins supports the Collins community, the IU community, and the Bloomington community with cultural, social, and musical performances and volunteerism, I knew that this was definitely a done deal. The thing about LLCs that's so great is that if you're interested in one school but want to be a part of the Living Learning Center of another, you absolutely can. And you don't need to be directly admitted to that school or college. So I know there were business students in Collins, there were musicians, there were education majors, there were all of these students who had a similar interest. And the Living Learning Centers take it a step farther. where you take a course every semester with the students that you live with. So again, every student in those classes I lived with. So there was this sense of community, and I really, really liked it. But there's thematic communities like outdoor adventure and performing arts. So there'd be activities outside. So that sense of community and really, really helped. So would you like to answer that question too, Jill?
Oh gosh.
Hard, right?
It's
I just
so
talked
hard.
5 minutes about all the things.
Honestly, the thing I go back to, so Marnie and I go way back. You were already working in the Office of Admissions when I started.
Since 1821, yeah.
Since 18.
Yeah, just kidding.
But I started in 2012. Our offices were right across the hall from each other. No one's offices are across the hall from each other right now. But also, I now am regional. So I live in Washington, D.C. And one of the things that I go back to whenever I come back to campus now, and that I think about when I lived in Bloomington and our families would come visit, I was walking around campus with my mother-in-law one time, and she goes, it's just such a special place. And she is not an IU alum. She had never visited, even though she's a native Hoosier. I am not a native Hoosier. I had to earn it by getting an IU degree. But even though she's a native Hoosier, she had never been to IU before my family lived there. And so she asked me one time when we're walking around campus, because that's like what you do when family visits is you walk around campus because it's gorgeous. And she goes, does it just feel like special to you every single day? And I had to admit that you get used to it. You get used to everything being beautiful all of the time. And like the grandioseness of like walking by the IMU, the Indiana Memorial Union, and just how magical it really is. And so I think one of the things, even though I miss Bloomington and I miss being on campus and around students all of the time, I miss when I go back now, when I get to visit a few times a year, it's that special again. It's like, oh, it's beautiful all year round. The last time I visited was in February. And even in February, when it was like a high of 7 degrees, one of the days I was there, even then it's beautiful and magical. And that feeling that you have on those really cold days walking through the IMU and you get to, the West Lounge with the fireplace. It's so warm and welcoming on our campus, 365 days a year. And I think that when you're there, and you mentioned this, you feel like, it feels like what you expect college to feel like. And I still remember the first time I didn't know what I was getting into when I moved to Bloomington. My spouse was starting a PhD program. And so I was like, I guess we're moving to Bloomington. So we get there the first day and we walk, it's April. We're walking around campus and everything's blooming. We're walking by the biology building. And I'm like, this place is gorgeous. I didn't know it was going to be this beautiful. Like, I had signed up to move there already, not knowing how beautiful and how special it was. So yeah, it's just great. It feels amazing.
We're very biased, obviously. And it looks like we are just finalizing our session. We thank you for joining us. Again, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We want to do whatever we can to support you in this this endeavor. We know under normal circumstances it can be challenging, so let us do what we can. We appreciate your time, and thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Jill.
Bye, Marnie.
Thanks, David.